It's a picture-perfect day. A foggy landscape, dew clinging to the grass, ripples in puddles. But then, this. Are you scratching at the thought already? It might feel like there's more of these pests around this year, but it's hard to say by just standing in your lawn. Dr. Christopher Vitek studies mosquitoes at UTRGV. Valerie Hernandez, a research associate, just got a new batch. They're collected from sites across the valley, and although they've documented over 30 species locally, there's really only 3 you'll probably meet.
The most common mosquitoes around people's houses are probably one of 2 species. There's Culex quinquefasciatus, which is always a fun name to say. It's called the southern house mosquito. It's one that breeds oftentimes in stagnant water that you might have sitting outside in the drainage canals that we have and things like that. The other one is Aedes aegypti, which is the yellow fever mosquito. This is one that oftentimes breeds right around people's houses in containers that they might leave out of flower pots, dog dishes. They leave buckets out, things like that, filled with water. And so those are going to be ones that people may come into contact quite frequently. If you go outside in areas that flood regularly, those are where you might find a lot of Psorophora mosquitoes. Those are oftentimes the very big mosquitoes that people really notice that are out there. I've had people call me, say they've never seen mosquitoes this big sometimes, so we have those every year.
That last big one, Psorophora, it only looks scary. It's not the one you should be worried about.
Culex quinquefasciatus, that's one of the primary vectors for West Nile virus. The good thing about that is the mosquito has to bite an infected bird before they can transmit the disease to people. And so a lot of that also is going to be influenced by bird populations and migratory bird patterns if we have concerns about West Nile virus. The other one that I mentioned, Aedes aegypti, is one of the primary vectors for dengue virus, for Zika virus, for chikungunya virus, all of which we've had transmitted down here. Last year we actually had a few locally transmitted dengue cases that sort of didn't receive as much attention because of the pandemic. And so those are ones where they have to pick up the disease from someone who's already sick, and then they transmit it to somebody new.
Dr. Vitek looked at the research to see if we have more mosquitoes now than in previous years.
We did see slightly fewer mosquitoes earlier this year compared to 2019. And then right now we're sort of in an upswing of the mosquito population. In 2019, that trend was matching very similar to what we see now, and increased drastically over the next few weeks.
Did you notice he didn't compare the numbers to 2020? Last year, everyone was indoors to stay safe, and data collection was affected. It may also explain why it seems like there's more around now, just as we're starting to go out more. But there are other reasons too.
I think one of the reasons why it feels like there's so many is a lot of times mosquitoes come out very rapidly following rain, following flooding events, and so all of a sudden it seems almost overnight you have huge numbers of mosquitoes. In addition, if you remember that freeze that we had back in February, I think it was, that really depressed the number of mosquitoes at the time and sort of delayed when we saw that bump of mosquitoes starting to increase.
Mosquito eggs can hide and be dormant for up to a year. The hatch ones will come out, but if you have a weedy lot nearby, you might as well call them neighbors.
Mosquitoes don't really like the high temperatures any more than we do. And so when it's really hot, they'll hunker down in vegetation. So if you have a lot that has a lot of overgrown vegetation, that then serves to protect the mosquitoes from the temperature.
Some citywide initiatives include spraying insecticide around town. If you're harboring a criminal in those uncut lawns, it's not going to work well.
The pesticide has to come in contact with the mosquito in order to have an effect. And so if the mosquitoes are being protected by all this vegetation that's in empty lots and that sort of thing, that's going to, in addition to protecting them from the temperature, protects them from these pesticides.
The best advice is to clean up and clear out anything that can collect water.
And I've actually seen mosquito larvae breeding in areas as small as a bottle cap of like a soda bottle.
Dr. Vitek advises if you're going outside when mosquitoes are around, especially dusk and dawn, try to wear long-sleeve clothing if possible. And keep in mind, mosquitoes prefer snacks of a certain style.
Mosquitoes generally prefer darker color clothing than lighter colored clothing.